In a world where we increasingly rely on text and email to communicate with our clients, it is so easy for things to be misinterpreted. Whether it is misinterpreted on your end and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is this person meaning or whatever, or if it's misinterpreted on the client's end. These things do happen, and it can be really frustrating to not understand what somebody means when they're texting you or when they're sending you an email. And it can be so easy to get the wrong message. So, since we have to rely on these tools, because let's face it, it's not going away, right, guys? It's not going away. We are always going to have people texting us. We are always going to have people emailing us. This is the way our society functions right now. So, since we're going to be using these methods of communication, and we might as well embrace it and figure out how we can de-stress and, kind of calm down a little bit about tone that we interpret over email and text. And that's what today's broadcast is about, my friends. We are talking about the fact that tone matters. Not just on your client's end and how we interpret their tone, but the tone that we use with our clients matters too. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is I've got some really cool tips that will help you take a deep breath and relax and realize that you might be misinterpreting the tone of that email or that text that you're reading. So, welcome to the broadcast, everyone. We are here for our Wednesday show at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time of year it is, Eastern Time. We are here at 12 noon on the coaching page where we talk about business mindset and awesometicity tips. If you've never been here before, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Sarah Campbell, and I am a business strategist and mindset coach for music studio owners and online music business creators just like you. And every week I go live here on Wednesday, shelling out all the good stuff. And you can find more about me on the blog. If you go to sarahsmusicstudio.com/blog, you'll find all the show notes from our previous broadcasts. If you want to get a hold of a link to the blog, let me know and just type blog below. All right, let's get to the show, guys. Hey, good morning, Sylvia. Nice to see you. Hello, hello. Sylvia is here watching. And I see also that Laura has tuned in. Sylvia says, I had that happen yesterday. I had to work very hard at not reading into the message. Sylvia, I'm so glad that you're sharing that story here because that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. It's being able to put these into practice every single week. If you are here, please be sure to say hello. If you're watching live with me, be sure to say hello and let me know. Have you run into this issue with tone over email and text before in your studio? We're going to be talking about some tips. If you guys have any tips that you would like to share, I would love for you to drop them here. If you are watching later on after the live is over, please don't hesitate to jump into the comments because we love to keep this conversation going here on the broadcasts. All right, so we got good stuff today. Because, guys, tone matters. I'm feeling silly today, people. You're going to have to bear with me. Hey there, Cindy. Good morning. I see Bethany's here. Barbara's got her latte, and I'm kind of jealous because I can't drink coffee. For now. We'll see. All right. So, good morning, everybody. Stefania, Tara, nice to see you guys. Cindy. All right. Tone matters. And it can be really frustrating when we get a communication from a client that sounds angry or upset, but oftentimes that's us misinterpreting tone, or vice versa, because communication is a two-way street, friends. Sometimes what we put down in a text or an email may be misinterpreted by our clients. And so it is our job to make sure that we communicate clearly and kindly and effectively, right? So I've got some tips that I'm going to drop here today. I've also got some exciting news for you guys. So, and if you're enjoying this, let me know. I see, yeah, Cindy, good, excellent. All right, we'll bring that up here in just a second. If you're enjoying the tips here today, I've got a new system here, playing with the stuff, right? If I drop a tip that you feel like is a really good takeaway for you, I want you to give me a hashtag takeaway, and then I want you to tell me the tip that is your best takeaway from today. So not only is this helpful for yourself to kind of like get that out there, get it down into text, tone matters, but it is also helpful for replay viewers who come back through and they want to kind of get like a recap and they want to know what to listen for. So there you go. Okay. Hey, I totally get this. Pete says, these are really tiny today. Let's make them bigger. I spend way too much time editing outgoing emails. Okay, Pete, we've got some tips for you. Okay, Cindy says, oh, I totally get this. Cindy, this is a common problem. She says, I have had parents misinterpret things. This is because I teach at a school where she does lessons and she rarely sees them. If we have any other teachers here who are teaching in school systems where you like basically never see the parents, let us know here in the comments. Cindy, you are not alone. Hey there, Julie. Nice to see you. Laura says, I find it especially that you misinterpret text because people use few words, unless, of course, they include an emoji. And y'all know how I feel about emojis. All right. Shall we get to the goods, guys? There's stuff, of course, as always, I've got the Coach Sarah bot up and ready to go. This week, she's doing something a little bit different, and I'm kind of excited. So she is going to send you a quick recap of the tips today. Why is that so long? Let's make it shorter. Hooray. Okay. She is going to send you a quick recap of the tips, but I've got a special thing coming for you guys this week. So here's the deal. I am putting together a PDF. It's not finished yet because, time. It's not finished yet, but I'm putting together a PDF that you can print up and put in your office or put wherever it needs to be to remind you about the tips and tricks that we're going over here today, plus a whole bunch of bonus ones. So that's going to be delivered to you. However, it's going to go via email. So if you're not on the email list already, put a tone below here, and then the Coach Sarah bot will message you here on Messenger and Facebook, and she's going to get you all of the goods. All right. That is going to go out on Friday with some really exciting announcements. So I cannot wait for you to get it. All right. Here we go. To the goods, guys. All right. Tone matters. So when we're using these emails and texts or whatever other kind of, I'm trying to think of other types of communications that rely just on text only. If you guys think of anything, let me know. I was going to say carrier pigeon, but well, that would kind of work. That's text only. When we're relying on these things, tone really matters because there's no facial expression. There's no intonation. There are no gestures. And so it's super easy to misinterpret words when we don't have those social cues that we so commonly rely on to understand how somebody is feeling. And so when we are using those types of communications and we don't have those cues that give us the info that we need, things can go wrong. And I'm seeing that so many of you are sharing this here. Hey, this reminds me, if you know of anyone right now, if you know of a teacher who has experienced this problem before, I want you to let them know about this broadcast right now. If somebody's name pops into your head and you're thinking, you know what, Karen could really, appreciate the tips that Sarah's dropping down right now. Let her know about this broadcast, okay? All right, so when we are trying to interpret these emails and texts and we're misinterpreting the tone, the first thing that I want you to do is to take a step back as you read that email or if you read that text and you're not sure if this person is upset or angry or just like in a hurry. I want you to ask yourself one question, and then we're going to get into the tips. Can you understand this text in another way? That simple question there, can I understand this in another way, is one of the most powerful questions that you can ask. And okay, so now we're going to get into the tips. Are you ready? Hey there, Deborah. Nice to see you. Meredith says that has happened to me too. I think this goes way beyond, the teaching studio. There are so many people. I mean, gosh, how many times have you misinterpreted the tone of a text from a friend or a spouse or a loved one? How many times have you thought, oh my gosh, that's like so awful, and then you realize later, like, no, that was fine. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Julie's like, oh, I put the angry emoji on the wrong comment. Sorry, Christy. Make sure that I got the tone wrong. Yes, this has happened so many times, right? Okay, so I have 3 tips. We're going to expand on those tips as we go. So like I said, if you hear something that's a really good takeaway, give me a hashtag takeaway and let us know what your takeaway is today. So the first tip that I have when dealing with email and text with, with clients or, just everyday people, right? Is that you have to practice your third-party view. Now, there are different ways that we can do this, right? Sometimes it literally means bringing in a third party and going, can you read this and let me know what you think? Now, when you do that, you need to be cautious. We don't want to color their view, right? Give them pertinent background information and only the pertinent background information, not feelings, right? And then ask them, what do you think of this? Okay, because oftentimes the tone that we're interpreting, right, might be way angrier, especially if because let's be honest here, especially if that email or text has to do with money or time. So it's so easy to like jump into like this reactionary stance instead of a responding stance. So it's important to bring in a third party. Sometimes that might mean asking a loved one to say, hey, like, where's my phone? It's literally right in front of me. Giving your phone to your loved one and going, hey, can you read this? And just let me know, like, am I overreacting here? Okay. Or it might mean, Michelle, you can't see me. Lovely. If you can hear me, exit out of the broadcast and then come back in. Ha 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 ha. Karen, I said the M word. Money, money, money. You got this, girl. Sylvia says, third party view. That is my husband's role. He often has great ways of looking at it differently. So smart. Exactly. My hubby does the same thing here. Overlay locked. What did I do? Okay. Everything's fine. All right. But it's handing off that phone to somebody and going, can you read this? And like, let me know that I'm overreacting. Yay, you're back. Okay, you can see me. Facebook is weird like that sometimes. Okay, so that's the first tip, right? Third party person. You can bring it, like literally bring in a real person. Or sometimes, if you are in a fabulous group of teachers and you have people that you rely on, then maybe you bring that information to them. And I'm going to put a gripe out there right now. People, when you are screenshotting conversations and you are putting them into forums, for the love of Pete, block out the people's names and numbers. I know that those of you who are listening right now would never do that, but I've seen it and it drives me bonkers. All right, thank you. Angry tone, back to happy. All right. So if you have a group that you can put that out into and ask for feedback, and be specific, right? Be specific when you're asking for that feedback. Don't say, oh my, Pete, for the love of me. That's right. For the love of Pete. Okay. Don't let that run away. So if you are asking a group for feedback, then let them know that you want constructive feedback. Let them know that you are like, okay, I feel reactionary with this and I really need help to look at this in a different way. Can you guys please give me an outsider's view and help me craft a response that doesn't sound like, I'm not going to swear on this yet. I kind of want to. Asshat. You don't want to sound like an asshat. All right. So get a third party view. That is the first tip here. And absolutely, Karen, yes, this is where we say thank you for the Speakeasy Co-op. Hey, side note, if you are a voice teacher and you haven't heard of the Speakeasy Co-op and you want to know info about that, because it's my favorite voice and business group ever, then I want you to put the word Speakeasy here, and I'm going to private message you not from the page, but from my personal account, and you and I are going to chat. Right. And yes, Michelle, sanity check, right? Sanity check. Okay. This is good. Hey, Brenda says, I frequently ask my husband to read important emails for objectivity. Objectivity. It's like that should be the word of the week, right? Because we need to not have our emotions inside of that response. I am loving all the responses I'm seeing from you guys. It's kind of hilarious. Okay, are you ready? Let's go into, hey, I see that Christy and Deborah are like, I want to learn about the speakeasy. I'll message you guys. All right, so awesome. Second thing, ditch the text and the email. All right, so right now, if you guys are in the voice teachers that are listening, if you are in the voice teachers for young singers, I think I got the name right, by Nikki Loney, I am channeling my Nikki Loney right now. Channeling my inner Nikki. Ditch the text and the email. If you find yourself in a place where you are like going back and forth with a client via email or text and like nothing seems to be making sense, this is like, this is the best thing that you can do. Step away from the text and make a phone call or talk to them in person, right? Now, if you're not going to see them for another week, definitely the phone would be best. But if you're going to see them later on that day and you're just like going back and forth, you can just very calmly send that text and say, hey, I totally want to work this out. I know that text is super hard. Would it be okay if we chatted about this in the first 5 minutes of your lesson? I can't wait to see you. The I can't wait to see you, put a smiley face there. Not like, I can't wait to see you. Wrong tone. Don't put that in all caps. All right. I did this just the other day because I was having some back and forth, and it was like a thing where a client needed a complete change of schedule. And, you know, that just isn't something that's really possible in my studio because things are tight, right? I've condensed that schedule down so I can hang out with you guys more. And so I knew that we could go back and forth with text and I could misinterpret. I could totally misinterpret what that person was saying. Or, ooh, okay, side note. No, I'll come back to it. I could misinterpret what that person was saying, or I could say, hey, you know what? Can we jump on a quick phone call for like 5 minutes? And you know what? We did. We jumped on the phone for less than 5 minutes. It was 4 minutes and like 52 seconds. I looked at it when I hung up the phone, and we solved the problem right then. So easy. So much better than going back and forth via text and email. So I hope I remember that side note. I did. Okay. So ditch the text and email and make a phone call or talk to people, right? You know, talk to people in person. All right, I'm going to get to the rest of these tips in just a second here. I'm seeing you guys have so much goodness going on in the comments, so I need to bring some up. Loving this live. I want you to do it again in Secco. Okay. Sounds good. And I love like the hashtag inner Nikki Loney. This is like a new thing. Christy, this is fabulous. Christy says, I need a solid 24 hours to process my emotions when I get that way after reading an angry sounding email. My husband is also a great third party reader. Oh my, what? Sorry, my mouse is making this thing do things do weird. That is so awesome. Thank you. Christy, I want to give like a hashtag takeaway to Christy because that is amazing. Christy, this is really good stuff. Also, yes. Okay. And exactly, Michelle, phone is best whether you like it or not. It's Shouty Wednesday now. You know, it's almost Shouty Thursday. It works. And then she also says 100% the 24-hour rule. I think that the 24-hour rule is something that we all need to think about when we are going through something like this that's like super ultra sticky, right? Now, let's get into some of the final tips. Are we ready, guys? I have some tips that are not written on the screen, so I'm going to drop them now because I think that these are really, really important. Don't assume that you know the tone that that person would have if they were speaking to you. Don't assume how that person is feeling because it is so easy to misinterpret just text that when we assume things, you know what we do, right? So don't assume things about the way that somebody texts you or the way that somebody emails you. Because, and a lot of things, don't assume things with timing either. Like, don't assume tone, don't assume feelings, and don't assume timing. Just because somebody doesn't get back to you for a day or even four, you know what? It might be because that person has bronchitis and they are so sick and have basically been in bed. True story. That happened to me last week. Okay, so don't assume. Don't get bent about timing. And then we're going to get into the final tip. All right, you guys are amazing. The conversation that is going on here. I cannot wait to hop into this later. I might be a little bit later this week and hopping in. You guys know that I normally jump into the comments like right after the show and I'm like, it's going to take me a little bit longer because I'm going to go have lunch. But, so let's get to this, right? Ooh, Julie, so good. Just decide not to be easily offended. Life will be so much better. Hashtag takeaway Julie. Thank you. That is so good. Also, okay, this is really, really good. If I didn't find it. Okay, yes. Yep. Or a parent or teaching or being present to their lives. These are all super important things. I lost the one that I wanted to bring this about. All right, I'll come back to it later. Okay. Final tip. You guys ready? Quick review. All right, number one, make sure that you have a third-party view. So bring in a friend, bring in a coworker, bring in the forum that you're in where you have people that you trust. And for the love of Pete, make sure that you like blur out information about people, because that is like the worst thing to ever see. Bring in a third party so that you can diffuse and make sure that you are being intentional about this and asking for support in a way that isn't like, I'm so angry, because guess what that's going to be? Guess what that's going to do? It's not going to diffuse the situation. It's going to make you feel even worse. So ask for support in a way that is going to diffuse the situation and allow you to resolve it so that you can move on to something that's far more important. I feel very sassy today, guys. I'm sorry. I love that I'm feeling super sassy and bossy on a day where I'm talking about tone. Okay. Tip number 2, ditch the text and email and move to a much better way to communicate, whether that's hopping on the phone for literally 5 minutes. Would you rather spend 2 hours perseverating over a text conversation or an entire day perseverating over an email, or would you rather spend 5 minutes of your life on the phone? And this is coming from somebody who doesn't like to talk on the phone. All right. Well, I do, but, prefer to just like send the email. Introvert. Okay. Final tip. You guys ready? Oh my gosh. Wait, is Nikki Loney here? Is she here? Sylvia said hi, Nikki Loney, and I'm not seeing. Did we conjure Nikki Loney with all of this talk about channeling our Nikki? I love it. Okay. Christy says, I found that when you swallow your pride, apologize, and make sure that they know you're on their side, everything can be worked out. Christy, and this is why you run such a successful studio. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. Oh, Barbara. Okay. Final tip in just a second. When I send an email, I read it out loud. Sometimes when you hear yourself, then you hear it differently than when you intended to write. Barbara, this is the perfect segue for the final tip. Are you ready? Write like you're talking to your blank. Okay. So who is in that blank, right? So Barbara just mentioned that when you're writing an email, it's really important to read it out loud. All right. So if you sit down and you're crafting an email and you are and if you are reading that email out loud and it sounds mean in your own voice, guess what? That tone ain't gonna fly. Now, I am also not saying that we need to be rainbows and butterflies with all of our client communications. Sometimes we need to be super clear and we need to draw boundaries in a clear and kind and effective way, right? But we can do so without having anger in a tone, without feeling like we are saying something, that's kind of hurtful. So write like you're talking to your blank. So think about somebody in your life who is the personification of like the person who, if you were writing them a letter, or if you were telling them something, you would have to put maybe like a good layer of kindness on those firm expectations. Not the kind of layer that makes it no apologizing people, not saying, I'm so sorry. No, this is not about apologizing. This is about being kind and firm at the same time. Exactly. Thank you, Christy. Here it is. Firm but kind. And Michelle, this is, oh my God, oops, I didn't get rid of you. Michelle says, this is way down there, check your inner motives too. Exactly. So we've got to check that inner motive. Write like you're talking to somebody who you really care for. And let's be honest, most of the time you are writing for somebody that you really care for. Because my guess is that the majority of clients that you have in your studio, or the majority of clients that you deal with in your online course, they are good people, and you know that about them. So if you don't want to write it like you're talking to somebody who's not that person, here's an even better way to do it. I want you to think of a time with that when you're dealing with a client and you're having like a miscommunication. I want you to think back to a time when you had an amazing experience with that client. And I want you to write to that person. I bet you that your intention and your inner motive will change. So, all right. Whoa, guys. Yeah. So, those are the tips for today. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I have more tips. I put them on a Post-it note because I'm organized. All right. Final tips for today. Read and reread your emails and your texts before you send them, before you click that boop button. Don't send something out of haste. Don't send something out of fear. And don't send something out of anger. All comes back to that 24-hour rule. If you were like deep in the feels and you are having a hard time responding to somebody, take 24 hours and walk away from it a little bit. Get some outside perspective, right? Get a third-party view. If you can, ditch the email and just call them, or, take some time to craft that and write it like you're talking to that client that you love. Okay? And don't forget, you have people. So when you feel stuck and you're angry and sad over a communication that has gone really wrong, then reach out to somebody, okay? Find a trusted friend, reach out to your spouse, your partner, and get a third party to help you with that. Okay, and Julie, yeah, exactly. Be very careful with Facebook and Instagram posting replies too. Same thing applies. It's basically like text, right, guys? All right, so I'm going to wrap the broadcast up today. I hope that you guys found this helpful. If you enjoyed the broadcast, oops, I'm moving all the things. If you enjoyed the broadcast, please let me know. Give me some like little fireworks shows with all those emojis that you can press on, because that makes me super happy. And if you have a friend, if you have a teaching friend who has, or a colleague that you think could benefit from this, make sure that you let them know about this. You can, you can distribute this to a group. If you have a teaching page, if you have I know one of sometimes a lot of groups that share these things, they are for like, if you have a local chapter of a group of teachers. Oh, yay, all the hearts and things are like exploding. You guys are making me so happy. All right, so if you have a group of teachers that you think could benefit from this information, definitely send this out to them. I would really super appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget that there are freebies coming your way on the email list, and they are also coming to you here with the Coach Sarah bot. So drop me a tone below, and the Coach Sarah bot will message you with all the good stuff. And remember, you can catch more business and mindset tips here every single Wednesday on the coaching page. That's one of the reasons you want to get a hold of the Coach Sarah bot, because she'll send you the link every week so that you don't have to search around for it. That way you can get the replay later. All right, get thee to the email list, guys. Good stuff is going out on Friday, and I don't want you to miss out. I'll drop a little sneak peek right now. One of my courses is reopening on February 28th, and there are limited spots, and we are going to be not just talking about tone, we're going to be talking about how we can craft those excellent communications that are geared towards your ideal clients. All right, so if that's something that's up your alley, if you want to be enrolling more people this spring or this summer or next fall, you're going to want to get a hold of this. And hey, if you want to get a hold of it right now, just drop a course down below and let me know that you're interested, and I'll message you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, stay creative and stay you. Bye, guys.